Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another shed session. Today we're down in Hobart with CODY Gay in his shed with his late model, and we're going to have a bit of a yak to him, get to know him a bit more. So we hope you can kick back and enjoy the next half hour or so. Welcome, Cody.
Thanks, mate.
I'm glad to have you here. How's life treating you?
Yeah, really good. Just at the moment in the off season, so trying to slowly get this thing behind us rebuilt at the moment, trying to get ready for the 4th or 8th of October there at Karaoke practice. And then Hobart practice the following weekend after. Ready to fire up at Karaoke, I believe it's 28th of October, is our first race meeting. I think that's our first and getting ready to fire up for then, so it's all going good.
Everything going good with it? Like?
Yeah, coming along. So we've got a new motor on the way, so that should be hopefully leaving the US now in about 2 or 3 weeks. Then once that's here, we can bolt that in, bolt all our drive sump system in, bolt the deck on the back, and roll it out of the shed and take it to the track.
Excellent, excellent. I've actually blown out a bit. I've never seen a late model with no panels on it, and I've walked in here and had a look at it and went, wow, they're so small. Like,
yeah, there's nothing to them at all, really.
There's nothing to them at all, like, really.
Especially at that right-hand side of the car. It's all just there for aero purposes, really, only. The wider you can make your car, the more wind you can get on it, the more downforce you get onto it.
Well, anyway, we'll have a few questions. We've got a few questions to ask you. So whereabouts did you grow up, Cody?
So I was born in Launceston, lived in Deloraine until I was about 2.5. Then we moved to the Gold Coast. I lived in a suburb there called Mollendina. Lived there till I was about 12. Our family had a trucking company up there with about 30 fuel trucks, and we ran around doing that for a while. Mum was a cleaner as well as doing admin there at the truck yard, and Dad was full time there. Then we moved back when I was 12, so that was probably 8 years ago now. Then we went and brought Midlands Freight there a couple of years when we first moved down. Ran that until about 3 years ago now. And now they've got a takeaway shop out there in the Bridgewater industrial area. So just sort of moved around the place and moved back here and been here ever since, back in Pontville. So it's a nice place to be and quite enjoy it.
It is not a bad place down here. Like when we was coming down, I mean, I've never been out to Pontville before, but when we was coming out, there's quite a lot of nice houses and very open, spacious.
Yeah, everyone around here sort of got that, that 3 acres, and they're all relatively that early 2000s built. Used to all be farming land, and they opened it up about the early 2000s, and it's just, they built a couple of houses around the place, and that's a good spot.
Excellent, excellent. So what division did you start in Speedway?
So we started in junior quarter midgets, so they were up in Queensland, Victoria, and I believe in Western Australia there for a while. So they're essentially an outlaw cart, but take the wings off of them. Same sort of deal, just ran like a Honda 125cc motor in them. I ran them from when I was probably about 6 through till I was 11. Then jumped into juniors until I was 16. Raced up in Queensland, so when we were in Queensland we would go up to Mackay, Rockhampton, didn't go Cairns, Rockhampton, Mackay, Bundaberg, Maryborough, Brisbane there, Toowoomba, and then moved back down here and raced juniors down here till I was 16, and now jumped in the late model.
Went from a warm state to a cold state.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
What made you want to start racing to begin with?
So Dad raced supers. We started in go-karts and Formula 500s, then jumped into Tassie sedans at the time. Then from there he then went into super sedans and brought a car off Sean Kelly, which was a Dodge Avenger. Raced that for a year or two, then sold that to Timmy Flower. Then once he'd done that, he brought a rocket off Kevin Purton. Raced that for three, 4 years. Brought another rocket off Darren Hickman. Raced that a couple of times. Moved to Queensland. He raced that a bit more. Only raced probably about 2 or 3 times up there. Then after that, he sold up, and then I jumped into racing when I was about 6. And just sort of kept going.
Yeah, right. And how many years have you been racing now?
Be 12. So 12, 14 years now. So been doing it for a long time and enjoyed every minute of it still.
Excellent, excellent. Now, a lot of people don't know what a late model is. Can you tell us a bit about what a late model is?
Yeah, so late model's a car out of the US, so they're a chrome moly tubular chassis all the way through, unlike a super sedan which have those square bottom rails in them made out of steel. So these are all chrome moly and all circular tubular chassis. They run on left-hand drive. So because they're out of the US, they run on the left-hand side. Usually motors. So in Australia, we run a lot of 525 crate motors as well as open motors. So an open motor is essentially something that's a small block Chev Usually an aluminium block and aluminium head, so unlike the super sedans we can run aluminium blocks, and we can go as big as cubic inches we want, as long as it stays a small block.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of them getting out to now about that 430 to 450 mark in cubic inches, with about 10 degree heads on them. They're making probably about 900 to 950 horsepower, and they're just lots of aero platform on them. Like you look at the front of them, the massive nose, that's all just it acts sort of like a bit like a sprint car top wing. Keep the front of them plunged into the ground. The deck comes up in the back, and that pushes the air into the rear of the car, and around the corner they go.
Excellent. What brand of car do you drive, mate?
So we've got a black diamond chassis, so that's built in Louisiana, I believe. That's an ex-Brad Smith car, so he brought that off a bloke in the US called Morgan Bagley. So that's a 2017 to 2019 updates in it. A lot of other guys in Tasmania running black diamonds, Kurt Millwood, Brad, Callum Harper's running a black diamond. I believe there's one more, the one that Josh Padman's now in, that was ex-Corey Bold car. So there's a fair few of them around now. They're a really good car. They're not really a name sort of brand like your XO1 Rocket or a Longhorn, that type of deal, but the amount of technical support we get for these and all that as well, it's sort of a bit like a Dominator of Sweet Super Sedans at the moment, if you know what I mean. Like, if you've got good drivers in cars, no matter what car you put them in, they're going to win.
They're going to win,
So if you've got all the good guys in a Longhorn or all the good guys in a Rocket, that's what's going to win the race. You put all those guys in a Black Diamond's going to win the race, so on. Same as Sweets and Dominators now with Supers. A lot of people buying Sweets. So that's what's winning races. Same sort of deal.
Yeah, cool. And do you run methanol or petrol?
So we're on methanol in this. With the crate motor you can run petrol. Because we run the open motor, we run methanol in this, so it's all alcohol fuel, and
So late models is what you built, mate. We've already spoke about that. Why did you choose late models?
So I was always dead set going to go race a super sedan. Ever since I was a little kid, that's what I wanted to race. Go and watch them, that's always what I wanted to do. Back when Brad, Jared, Dad and all that, that's just what I wanted to do. When we got out of juniors when I was 16, we had the option to either run another year or to go and do something else. And I'm under the belief that once you sort of hit 16, juniors is just there to learn. So if you're starting to win feature races in juniors, that's sort of when you're going to start getting out. So we won about 4 in that last year, so we decided to get out. We then had the option to sort of weigh up of what we were going to do. We were sort of going, we're going to run an AMCA, or a super sedan maybe, might even go into 500. It was sort of just a couple of different options floating around our head. Then we got talking to Harper's and Brad and all that as well, and they said, you should probably go have a look at a late model. And I was like, oh well, being sort of just a young kid, I didn't really know what a late model was at the time. They were pretty well new to the state. I think they'd only been here for a year or so.
They haven't been here for very long, have they?
No, so we then went and had a look at Brad's, one of Brad's there, and he was sort of telling us all about it. And for the price point you can get into them, it was really a no-brainer. So our first Rocket we brought that for, I believe, 25,000 ready to go. And at the time it was a reasonably competitive car. And you can go buy a car that's in relatively good working order that can win any race in Australia with the right driver in it for 50 grand. Versus buying a roller super sedan for 50 grand with no motor in it, right? And that's for top flight super. So it was really no-brainer for the price point to jump in one. And they're a second a lap quicker than a super sedan anyway, and I like to go fast. And I didn't want to go race 3 cars and fly through catch fence, so pretty well ended up.
Well, when you smash a sprint car, you might as well just start.
Just start throwing the bill out. I just need to put some new aluminium inside the stick.
So what division would you like to race if it wasn't a late model?
I'd really like to have a go about dirt modifieds. I've seen a bit of racing from them over in the US and in Australia. And to me, they're sort of the best of both worlds. So they're torsion bar rear end or full length bar rear end type of deal. I believe they're full length torsion bar rear end. And they're a big motor, but they've got that sort of that open wheel front of them. So they've got the positive steering of like a sprint car, but they've got the body on them in the action of a late model. So to me, that would probably be something that I'd really like to have a go in. And they're also massive horsepower, right? Like they can bolt. They bolt sprint car motors in them and all that as well. Like in the US, they run big block versions of them. They're 1,000 horsepower in these things, and they're just a cool thing. And I also like the idea of being in a division where if I need technical support, I'm not just ringing one person. I can pick up the phone for this late model now and ring a handful of people in the US, and they're going to give me the same information, the right information about it. Whereas I believe if you went to another division, you'd probably struggle with that. That's not like sort of an international division. So
So what sort of engine are we going to be putting in this thing this year?
So we've
or is it a secret?
Oh, it's not a secret.
Yeah.
So we've purchased a motor out of the US, which is a open motor. So we bought another one. So that'll come in the car in probably about 2 or 3 weeks. Hopefully it should be here. Just waiting on a carby for it at the moment.
Yep.
So we'll get that, and that's a 430 wide bore open motor.
430.
Yeah, so that's built by Andy Durham, who builds all the rocket house cars motors, Brian Shirley's, Chris Madden's, all that. So it's a really good motor. We got a really good deal on it when we bought it, and it's just what we thought at the time was a logical step. Like, I'd rather have 3 million horsepower and they need to use 3 of it, than be limited to 400 horsepower and need to use 403.
Yeah.
So that's why we went that way.
Favourite event?
In Australia would have to be it's like the Grand Spring Cup Classic. Like, I don't think anything beats it at the moment in Australia.
Yeah.
Like, I've been there twice now with the Dickinson family.
Yeah.
And you go there and it's just such a massive spectacle.
Yeah.
Like, it's all, the whole place is packed. There's teams in there everywhere with all that are capable of winning.
Yeah.
And the money on the line's huge.
Yeah, and plus all the Americans.
All the Americans come over. It's just great. Like,
it's like our own little Knoxville National.
Exactly right. Yeah. There's I don't think anything compares to it. Like, you look. Because I always thought the Grand Prix was massive, right? Like, I always thought that's a pretty big event, that's pretty cool. But once you go over there, you're like, it's just splash in the water, really.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Like, I've never seen a speedway with so many people in my life.
That little stretch of water between Tasmania and the mainland just stuffs a lot of things up.
It does, 100%.
Sponsors to come down here for big events.
It does.
And getting cars down here, you know. We have big events with the Grand Prix, like say, and the Grand National and that. But if we didn't have that stretch of water, we'd have so many more cars that would be able to come down here.
You put the Grand Prix at Avalon next year, and you'd probably get an extra 10 cars.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just that stretch of water. Like, we're lucky that our transport is registered as a motorhome. Yeah. So for us to get on the boat and come back, it's only about $3 grand. Yeah, right. Still a lot of money, but compared to what I know a lot of people with trucks were paying $4,000 one way. Yeah. So when you're paying $4,000 to come over and you still don't know if you're going to win the event, it's pretty sort of hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, and there isn't, if anyone ever thinks that there's money in Speedway, there probably is on the mainland a bit more than Tasmania, and America's a lot bigger, of course, than what Australia is. Yeah. But there's not that much money in it, is there?
There's not. Like, if we win on a Saturday night here in Tassie, we've made enough to sort of pay our dues at the track. So if we win, that's us for us able to be buy a right rear tyre, or any tyre, all the same price. A drum of methanol, and you get us in the big game. Yeah. Doesn't really pay for our diesel to go up there or anything like that, but it sort of just covers costs.
And that's if the car goes on the trailer straight.
That's if the car rolls in the trailer. I don't have to do anything to it except for watch it. Yeah. The minute something goes wrong and you don't win, you sort of start to go backwards a bit. Yeah. But I don't know anyone in Australia anyway that's here to make money out.
No, most drivers that I speak to, they're in because they love the sport. Yeah. You know, like it's more of a love of the sport than.
That's exactly right. You know, we don't spend $50,000 on race cars because we'll make that back next year. Yeah. It's more because we want a good car and be competitive and to have a good time.
Yeah, living life. Exactly. Who was your biggest hero growing up, Kay?
Would have to be Mum and Dad. They busted their asses for me their whole entire life. Yeah. So, Mum would, when I was a kid, Mum would work 2 jobs. She'd work as a cleaner half the week and an admin or administrator at the family's truck yard for the other half of the week. She'd go cleaning from midnight through till 7 o'clock in the morning. Yep. Wake me up for school. Yep. Then, if an assembly that I was in, or a school presentation or something, she'd come to that, and then she'd go back to work at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Work till 3 o'clock. Yep. Come pick me up from school, take me home, feed me dinner, cook me dinner, and all that. Then back up again at midnight to do all over again. Yeah. And then when she was working for the family truck yard, then she would work up in Brisbane 2 days a week from the Gold Coast, which is about an hour travel. And then Dad, I would have seen him probably 3 times between the ages of 2 and when I was 12. Like, he would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, be back home at 8 o'clock at night, always on the phone, trying to deal with stuff and all that. And they've worked so hard to give me what I've got. Yeah. Without doubt, that'd be my biggest hero.
And they're great people. I've met them a long time ago. But
you don't live with them, mate. You don't live with them. They're not that great. They use it all the time.
Well, outside from home, they seem to be nice people. So, what's the one event you'd really want to win?
In Australia, it'd be Australian time, mate. Yeah. I really want. I really want to win it. Like, I know everyone says I want to win the Australian title and that, but it's just a feather you can put in your cap that goes, I've done it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good drivers that have never been able to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you think of that people that come to your mind that haven't been able to win an Australian title just through sheer bad luck.
Yeah.
You know, something breaking, something happening, but the one in multiple races. So that'd be one thing I'd really like to do before I finish up. Like, I'm still young now. I just turned 20, so I'm still pretty young. So I've still got a fair bit of time to sort of start getting into it and start. Long time to go. So hopefully before the time's up, we can get one. And I'd also like to go to the US here in the next couple of years. Not even a race, just a Corona car. Yeah. You know, the amount I believe that I could learn from a month in the US to 2 months in the US to transfer back here, just knowledge of crewing on a car would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
so
you can't get that sort of knowledge.
You can't, not over here.
They race, 5-6 times a week?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. They're just racing so much. Yeah. And
it's a job over there as well as a sport, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. Like, look at people like Callum Hart, for example. He's a really good driver, great racecraft, could win any race in Australia if you put him in today. But he does race 30 to 40 times a year.
Yeah, yeah.
The seat time helps so much. And you see like Jock Goodger go over to the mainland, Tate Frost now. Yeah. Brad Smith's gone over there, Kurt Millwood goes over there a bit and races around. Like, the seat time just helps you so much to understand current what you're doing.
And the Tassie boys really mix it with them, don't they? Like,
yeah.
Jock Goodyer, Australian champion at the moment.
Dylan Beveridge, current Australian champion.
Dylan Beveridge, another Australian champion. And I could see Tate Frost winning one too.
Yeah, exactly right.
And Callum, no doubt he'll win another Australian late model title and a Super Sedan title, He's
more than likely.
Only still young.
Yeah, exactly right.
So, and the age, when I was younger, I've said this a few times, when I was younger, it was more of an old man's sport.
Yeah.
The youngest was probably 40 years old onwards.
Yeah.
Where now it's all the young fellas coming through the ranks and showing the old boys how to drive.
Yeah, I feel like there's an element of young stupidity that goes on with it as well.
Yeah.
Like, when you're at that 40, 30 years of age, I feel like you calculate things a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas, like, I know for a fact that I've done a lot of dumb stuff just through going, that should be right, this will all pan out well, and then none of it panned out well at all. Like, right, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Like, there's an element of young stupidity that goes on with it. It just makes them so fast.
Yeah.
Like, they will put it a millimetre away from the wall and just go for it if they reckon they should get out of the car and go, oh, well, that didn't work, we'll try it again next week.
That's what amazes. That's why I love Speedway so much.
Yeah.
Is because you're on the edge of out of control so much.
And it doesn't matter if the track's hooked up or if it's slick. You're still on the edge of out of control.
Yeah.
Like, if the track's hooked up, you're holding it flat and going in and hoping that it doesn't push across track, put in the wall.
And so many people say to me, it's Speedway, you only turn left, how hard can it be? Well, you get out there and try.
That's exactly right, yeah.
It's not as easy as what you think, So how does mum and dad go when you're racing with the nerves? Do they get nervous, or do they just let you do your thing, or
Mum's
Dad
okay.
in your back pocket going, don't do this and don't do that?
Mum's okay. She can get a bit animated on the bank type of deal, a bit excited, but Mum's pretty good. Dad, on the other hand, is probably a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
So we will butt, and it's just the thing, we both want to win, so we'll butt heads multiple times a night. I'll go do something to the car, and we'll go, oh, you should have done that, should have done this, or he'll do something and go, what the fuck did you do that for, type of deal.
Yeah.
And on the bank, if we're running really well, like, he'll be there screaming at me to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're not the worst. I've definitely seen a lot worse.
Yeah.
But they're probably not the best either.
Yeah, right. They're in the spirit.
They're in the spirit of it. They're behind it. Like, when you do so much of it, like, I say I work 2 jobs. So I'll work a 50 to 40 hour week at work.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing the same in the race car during the week.
Yeah.
And they're the same. Like, and when you put so much money and time into something, and it's got so much love for it, it just makes you so passionate about it.
It does, yeah. It's like abusing an umpire.
Exactly right.
You're passionate about
support
it. Exactly right. Yeah. So, what did you think of the track last year at the Australian title? Was it an eye opener going to Warrnambool?
I would honestly rather race at Warrnambool once a year for the rest of my life than race anywhere else. Like, it's such a nice facility,
and it's fast.
Yeah. Like, the grass is better than any place in Australia.
Yeah.
The pit area is so nice to be. The spectator area is also nice, and then you get out on the track, and you look at it and go, just a small little place. It's small than Carrick. Like, it's a small place, but you're flat out the whole time. And it's just got so much pace in it, so much banking, and you feel like you're in a fishbowl type of deal when you're there racing, and it's fast everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, if you're on the bottom, it's quick. If you're on the top, it's quick. Like, it's not like you're at most tracks where if you race in the bottom, you feel pretty slow because you're just trying to roll the corner. But you still feel like going a million miles an hour. If you race the top, you still feel like you're going a million miles an hour.
So are you flat the whole way around there?
We'll take foot off the accelerator for the corner. So I'm qualifying and the first heat, the only time I took my foot off the accelerator was coming in the corner. So you go down the straight, back it off a bit, sort of ease foot on the brake, and then straight back on the accelerator, just get the car to rotate into the corner.
Yeah.
And that's it. That was it. That was legitimately it. Like, we qualified, came back in, the tacho's ready to set up at 8.5 to 9 grand. And you're like, we probably better chuck another gear set this thing. This is
no,
good.
man's looking going, whoa.
We're all looking at it going, oh, that's probably not good. Like, I think there was 11 or 12 cars that blew motors up, including us. Yeah. And then Ash blew a motor up next weekend at Hobart.
Yeah.
You know,
because they say with these things, if it's any bigger than I don't know whether I've heard this right, but I've heard a few drivers talk about an engine bigger than a 440 is not much good.
Yeah, so
I don't mean not much good. You can't get the full potential out of the motors.
Yeah, so they're doing a lot of things now. So CODY restrictors are a big one.
Yeah,
they're doing that a lot in sprint cars and mechanical injection as well, dropping restrictors down. So where you've got a carby spacer, so about a 2-inch carby spacer, you can now drop in restrictors to essentially change your venturi size.
Yeah, right.
Just sort of slow the air going down to the motor and slow the horsepower down in it.
Yeah.
And that's sort of taken a bit of horsepower away from them. So at the start of the night, you can have your 950 horsepower. Then by the end of the night, you're sort of back down to that 850, 800, a bit more manageable.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There's no point in having a 3 million horsepower motor if you can't use it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people, like Callum Hart, for example, is really talented at using as much as his motors needs at the time.
Yeah.
Like, you hear that car at the start of the night, and it sounds like the motor's about to fly out of it.
Yeah.
By the end of the night, you can barely get the car going around.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people like that. They're very talented to know how much horsepower is in the car and how much not to.
And throttle control.
And throttle control, yeah. And it's the same thing, like, throttle springs make a big difference. If you like, a heavy throttle spring, so your throttle's really heavy, so it's really hard to sort of push down on come feature time when the track slickens up a bit. Or you do like really light throttle to like to feel exactly where it is. So there's a lot of different tricks they're trying at the moment to slow them down. Yeah. People say someone's running traction control, but you're not meant to.
Not meant to.
Try and prove it. But
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But I honestly believe that there's no probably need to. The amount of knowledge coming out of the World of Outlaw teams and the Luke Saul teams and all that, and all these top line engine builders coming out of it, they can pretty well tell you how to put traction control in the car without actually being traction control.
Well, it's a big business, isn't it?
Exactly right.
Really big business, especially in America.
Yeah.
So colours this year, we're going to be running the same red and white, or we're mixing it up a bit?
So we're going pretty well the same thing as last year. We've got a couple of new sponsors on board, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah.
But we're going pretty well the same as last year type of deal. A couple of little changes, but not too much.
Yeah.
With Dad's always had a red car, and I always just had a plain white car. And then last year, we sort of went red by accident. When we brought this car off Brad 2 years ago, it came with a set of red doors on it. So I had a set of brand new red doors sitting aside, and we bolted on the car, we signed it, went, oh, okay, it doesn't probably look too bad. Yeah. And now we're just running with it again, so it'll be pretty cool.
And I'll speak through personally, it always looks immaculate, this car, when it goes on the track.
Thank you.
Favourite track you've raced on?
Warrnambool. 100%.
Why is that?
It's just a great facility. It's just a fast track, great facility. I've raced at Toowoomba back when it was black clay, when it was like really black clay, and Alan Woods owned it.
Yeah.
Way back, or promoted it way back when. I'm really excited. We'll go to Toowoomba this year for Australian title.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to go up there because everything I've heard about that place now, it's just phenomenal. Like, Ryan's done a really good job there promoting that place and getting it all set up. So I'm really excited to go there this year. We're also going to try and go to Eastern Creek as well.
Yep.
Really excited to go there as well. Just a couple of places that I think are probably really good facilities that we just haven't got the opportunity to go to
Eastern
yet.
Creek looks like a good facility. They just need to get their heads around the track a bit more.
Yeah, I saw they were doing some work there this week, digging up all the track to try and get some more filtration sort of pump out of the track, but we'll see how they go.
No doubt they will get that sorted because the bloke that's got it, he's had a few tracks over the years, and he's bloody good. I think it's Kelly.
Yeah, John and Johnny
Kelly.
Caff, John Caff Kelly.
Favourite track you haven't raced on but would like to?
Fairbury. Eldora in the US.
Oh yeah,
in the US.
You lost me there for a second.
Are in the US. They look like good tracks. Fairbury, they run the PDC, so the Peridot Classic over there. That just happened last week.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that go to it is phenomenal, and the track's phenomenal, and it just looks like a cool place to race. Like, it's a little boring. It's really flat until you get up to the wall. Then the bank's real high. It just looks like a fun place to race. I don't think everyone wants to race Eldora.
I think I remember that 50-50 raffle over there for over $200,000 there once.
Exactly.
That's a big 50-50.
Yeah, I'll buy a 50-50 ticket. I'm not racing. I'll buy a 50-50 ticket.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Are you racing Oz title next season?
Yeah, so we'll race our season down here.
Yep.
We'll race the season down here. Might jump over the water and race something in February, maybe in Victoria. Still haven't decided.
Yep.
But then once our season's done, we'll head over to Warrnambool for the last round of Victorian Series, which is 10 grand to win at the moment. I think they've just upped the price to that, which is at Warrnambool. So we'll race that. Then we'll head up the road to Eastern Creek, which is the following weekend. We'll race there. And then we'll take the car up to Gatton. We'll leave that at the McGee's place.
Yep.
Then from there, we're sort of up in the air. There's Lismore the weekend before the Australian title, so we're not sure if we're going to run Lismore yet or not. It's one of those deals we raced before an Australian title before, and that didn't end well, so I don't know if I want to try it again.
Is that your nemesis, Trey?
I don't know if I'm mentally prepared to go run a weekend before an Australian title again.
Yeah.
Then there's the Queensland title at Toowoomba, which is on the Wednesday the 24th of April.
Yeah.
Which is one night show, so that will be essentially our practice night, and then have Thursday off for Anzac Day, bit of car maintenance and the cow cutter, and then the Australian title Friday, Sunday night.
Where's that next week?
Toowoomba.
Toowoomba, that's right.
And then we'll head home and hopefully try and do a race at Eastern Creek on the way home or somewhere there. And
so you'll probably spend a lot more time on the mainland than in Tassie this year?
yeah, we'll still do a lot of Tassie stuff, because all of our sponsors are Tasmanian, and I don't want to go over there and do one race here and race all my stuff on the mainland. Like, that's not fair on them. We're really about giving back to our sponsors and representing them the best we can. So we'll do all the Tassie shows this year, and then as our season starts to sort of wind up in that April, we'll then head over.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So when you're not playing around with race cars and racing Speedway, what do you do in your spare time?
Work. That's pretty well it. Like, I'm a third year apprentice rider now, so it's only a 3-year trade, which is pretty cool. So I'm qualified in this year. I've been down there for 5 years now.
Yep.
And then other than that, it's pretty well it. Hang out with a couple of mates every now and then and cause some mischief up around the joint. But other than that, that's about it.
I like the sounds of that.
Other than that, that's about it.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years, Cody?
Hopefully still racing. Like I said, I've done it now 15 years. 14 years. So I've done it for a long time. I haven't really known anything else. So I'd like to probably go for another 5 years. Then by that time, I'm 25. Start to think about what I actually want to do with my life and all that. I'd like to start saving for a house in the next couple of years. If I stop blowing motors, like I probably already have one, but that's part of that deal.
It's fun and games of it, mate.
And set myself race probably another 5 years, probably get a new car in between there and having a good crack at it until I'm about 25 and 30, and then probably call it a good thing.
What sport would you like to try other than Speedway, though, if you ever left the sport?
Bobsledding. Have you seen how crazy that stuff is?
Imagine have big kahunas in.
Well, imagine that, laying down that ice thing, going down there. Like,
no, I couldn't imagine.
It's pretty crazy stuff. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Well, I could just imagine. I just got a real bad thought in my head about the Jamaican boys.
That's what I'm cool running. That's exactly what I'm going for here. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, excellent. What's your favourite thing about Speedway, apart from driving?
I think it's a commitment to it, right? Like, I don't know, and when I say it, I do genuinely mean it. I don't know any other sport that has a commitment like motor racing. People only see the 15 times you race a year, and they don't see everything sort of behind the scenes to that. Like, if you're a swimmer, you train twice a week and then go swimming on weekends, right? Whereas if you've got a race car, you've got to be on it. To be anywhere near the front, you've got to be working on the car every night of the week. You then go racing. Wash it on a Sunday, put it back in the shed, do the same thing all the next week. Even if you're a month off, you're still working on it every week. So I feel like the commitment and it's not the commitment like you put in yourself, it's the commitment you see everyone else around you put into it. Like, we've got a really good crew guy, Matt, I work with him, and when we broke at Latrobe there at the state title, he was here since Sunday night through to when we were on the boat Wednesday. Like, he didn't leave. Well, I think between us, we've probably got 10 hours sleep over those 3 days we were building the car. And same with my partner, Malia. She's the same, like, the amount of commitment, and Mum and Dad, the amount of commitment they put into it is what's really cool to sort of sit back and watch. There's a lot of people here that want to see me do well, and that's probably the coolest thing about it.
She's a very quiet girl too, Malia.
She's very quiet girl.
Don't give many words.
No, she's unless you catch her on the right day, then you won't shut her up.
Been together for a while?
Yeah, we've been together a year and a half now, 2 years. So
how long the ring will be going on the finger there, mate?
Mate, listen, I've got race
Well,
car
just
stuff to
put
pay
you in
for.
trouble.
I've got race car stuff to pay for. There's no room going on there anytime soon. She wants to buy a cell phone to go for it.
So you could be out there with you.
Hey?
She could be out there with you racing against you then.
No, so she's really good. Like, she'll sit in the shed and paint the hoosie on tyres and stuff like that, and throw tyres up and do body work and scrape clay under the car and all that. Just stuff that people don't really think about.
Yeah.
You know, clean race boots, lots of stuff that people don't think that you need to do.
Yeah.
But it all adds up. It's all time, and she does all those little jobs that people don't sort of appreciate. But when they're not being done, you turn around and go, "Oh shit, well, you know what was going there."
Yeah, right. So I've heard a little superstition about some drivers. They won't wash their helmets. Do you wash yours?
I'd get shot if I did.
Yeah, right.
My friends, I'll get shot if I did. I'll put I'll put my right glove on for my left.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
I'll also take my steering wheel, put my steering wheel on, check it, take it off, put it back on again and check it.
Yeah, right.
And that's only because I've had one fall off before. So there's a couple of stuff like that. If I put a new sticker on my car of any shape, way or form, let's say it's could have been a sticker like on the side of the seat or something like that, and we run really badly, it's getting ripped off.
Yeah.
If I put it on and we're running really good, it'll never come off in its life. I've currently got a really shit Moe, and the only reason I do is because I had it on one day by accident. I just don't know, this would be a good joke for a week. Then we run really good that weekend, and ever since then I can't get rid of it.
Excellent.
So
what's the girlfriend think of the Moe?
Oh, she reckons I can't get rid of it because I'm not too much like a child. And I'm like, well, it's still not a helping situation at the moment either, is it? So,
what's your proudest accomplishment?
I'd have to say making the A-Main of Australian title first year in. Like, that was pretty big for us. We went over there hoping we could do it.
Yeah.
And just through the consistency and not dropping heats and running well in heats when we had to, we're able to make the show. And then to drive from, I think, Saturday 19th or 18th there, went all the way back to second last, which is about 24th, and then drove all the way back up to 13th with 3 to go. It was about to pass 12th. You know, it was just pretty cool that we were able to show that we've got good car speed, and once we're sort of got our shit together, we can get up on the wheel and get going.
Yeah, excellent. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
So well done. Top effort. That's your first Australian title?
Yeah, first one ever. So it was pretty daunting type of deal, you know, like you're going over there and all that, and there's a lot of people watching at home and a lot of people there.
Especially when you've got big name drivers out there as well.
Yeah, when you've got people like Lachlan Onley, Vosberg, Cod White, Brad Smith, Callum Harper, it makes it, you know, you're looking to go and I'll watch these people when I was, a little kid for so long, and now I'm going to go race against them, which is pretty cool. So yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a bit of a mind-blowing thing. You're like, is this really happening? Is this what's going on?
And what do you do to keep fit?
So my partner, she plays soccer.
Yep.
So she's really into soccer, and they play indoor soccer through the week. And I used to go and watch and used to stir them up and go, "Oh, you're no good," or whatever, just being, shit stirring person I am. And then one day she was like, "Well, if you're so good, you have a go there." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, fuck, I put my money where my mouth is now." So now, and ever since then, now I play indoor soccer one night a week, just as a bit of exercise, stay fit. When race season's sort of in swing, I'll probably go for about a 2-3k push bike ride sort of once a week. Yeah. Before we went to Warrnambool, I was pretty exercise savvy, trying to get as much. It's 40 laps is a long time to go. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I may not be a 10th place driver, but if I can be at least a second place fitness, we'll sort of end up somewhere there in the middle. Yeah. So I was trying to stay sort of as fit as I could for that, and it's just little stuff like that helps.
Yeah. So we've already spoken about plans for this season. Plans for the future.
Yeah, so we'll race this car now for a couple of years yet. Probably definitely race it next year and probably the year after. Yep. Then I'll probably be looking at upgrading something newer. Mm-hmm. We're saying with this motor. This motor's a pretty competitive motor, sort of compared to everything in Australia at the moment. So we'll run with that now for the next couple of years, sort of next 2 years. Then we might sell it or rebuild it or whatever. Just depends on what's happening at the time. That's the plan. We want to do a lot more mainland racing. There's talks about national tours and East Coast tours and all that sort of stuff that might happen one day. If that ever happened, that'd be something we'd be really interested in coming on board and doing. And I don't know if it's going to happen because, like you see, World Series Sprint Cars this week. Yeah, they're not going again, unfortunately. Yeah. Don't know if they will go again next year or.
Surely they'll have to get another series.
You think they've got to get something going, right? Like I think, like Barry Waldron had sort of something pretty good going with the Ultimate Sprint Car Series or Ultimate Speedway Series, I think it was called, and that had your midgets, late models of sprint cars. So maybe something like that has to try and get up and going again. But if they ever run a national series, that'd be something I'd really want to do.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be...
Well, they had one for Super Stands as well.
Yeah, they had one for, like, 10 years Super Stands. I think that, like... I just like the idea of... To me, that does prove you the best.
Yeah.
If you win an Australian title, you can run the number 1 on your door, but it can just be through a fluke.
Yeah.
You could have just had a really good night, but it'd be no good for the whole year. Or, someone who's running half lap in front of you broke something, and you've just sort of lucked into it. Whereas with an actual national touring series, you've got to be on your game every night.
Every night, yeah. And are we due to have an Australian title for late models down here, or haven't we quite got enough cars yet?
So, they work a bit different to sedans. I'm not sure how sprint cars do theirs, but I know they work different to sedans. So sedans usually have it on a rotational calendar.
Yeah, every 7 years.
Yeah, for late models, it's whoever puts their hand up and funds it.
Oh, okay.
So, theoretically, it's at Toowoomba this year, and Toowoomba could have it for the next 10 years.
Yeah, right. Yes.
I'd really like to have it down here. I think it'd be really cool.
It'd absolutely be great.
We've got, I'd like to say 10 drivers down here. I think would be capable enough of winning if it was down here. You got Ash, Kurt Millwood, Nathan Rainbird, Ellis, Callum Harper. Callum Muir's got a really good car on his night, can't catch him.
Yeah.
Myself and all that, like this, Brad and myself, there's a lot of really good cars down here that I feel like if you gave them the advantage of sleeping in their own bed, would be able to win any race, would be able to win it. Because it's a massive advantage, right? Like being able to go back to your own shed and work on your car or between nights, or sleep in your own bed, or go have a shower, or even knowing where, simple stuff is, like knowing how to get out to the track, knowing where the pit gate is, even knowing where the canteen is. Like, I'm going to do a sausage roll somewhere through the night, so knowing where the canteen is, like that, it's just a massive advantage to you. So I feel like I'd really like to probably see it somewhere like probably Latrobe.
Yeah.
That's a pretty wide open space. Even somewhere like Carrick. Carrick on its night is a really nice, fast hooked up track.
Oh, Carrick's a brilliant track. I love Carrick. I've always had a soft spot.
Yeah, it's just on Carrick's night when they, because I applaud Carrick for everything they do. That's a completely volunteer rad track.
Yeah.
So for the amount that they do, it's really good. Same with Latrobe and Hobart. For what they're doing at Latrobe with the Harmon Centre and all that, the boat, it's really great.
Brilliant for the sport.
It's really great for the sport. But I think somewhere at Latrobe where it's a bit more wide open would be good.
And if you want a good meal, go and check out the Trevor Harmon Centre at Latrobe Speedway, because the meals are absolutely beautiful.
It's great, they're great food up there. I've been up there a couple of times and always had great meal up there. We had our late model dinner up there. It was great up there. Yeah, you were too. Yeah, it was great night.
It was, yeah.
But what they're doing, I think, is great. And I don't believe we've got a national title here this year. Modified Carrick. Carrick, that's right, they've got added on. Yeah. But it'd be nice probably in 2 or 3 years' time to have one down here.
It would be great.
At somewhere like Carrick or Latrobe, even Hobart, if they got it right on their night, would probably be pretty cool as well. So I'd much rather it beat Hobart to drive back here. But we're really looking forward to hopefully have that here in the next 2 or 3 years.
What's your favourite track in Tassie?
If you asked me back when we were racing juniors, I'd say Carrick. Now we're racing late models, I'd probably lean more towards Latrobe.
Yeah.
You can just get more feel for the speed out of cars. But in saying that, Carrick, when it's hooked up and quick, it's on. You've got to be on your game because it's such a short track and it's not very wide.
Yeah.
You've got to be on your game the whole entire lap.
Yeah.
Like you can't sort of just take, like coming up out of the D at Latrobe, you sort of just take your breath for 5 seconds and then go again. Whereas at Carrick, when it's hooked up and quick, you've got to just be on your game and get motoring. And even Hobart, like, a lot of people hate Hobart when it's really slick, but I really enjoy it.
I love Hobart. It's a great track.
Like, I reckon when it's slick and they've got a bit of grip up the top, it just creates such good racing, especially in turn 1 and 2. Like you see a lot of moves going where a lot of people sort of go around the outside, come into turn 1 and drive out of turn 2. A bit harder in 3 and 4 because it's stuck into the wall, but when that place is sort of a bit slick and, dry, and you've got to use your head more than your actual throttle, it sort of separates the boys from the men type of deal.
Yeah. And the reason I like Hobart, you can sit in Karaoke Speedway.
You can. And you go to Hobart, and I reckon it'd be the most spectator place in Tassie.
And it's a beautiful view right around the track.
Great place.
In the background,
It's a great place.
It's an absolutely awesome place. Now, this is completely off Speedway, but I'm going to ask you a few questions just so people can know a bit more about you. V8s, Supercars or Formula 1s?
Best Supercars.
Why?
There's been a lot of stuff about it lately that people are sort of complaining about and all that, but I don't need to watch a Formula 1 race this weekend to know who's going to win it.
Yeah.
I can tell who's going to win it now.
Yeah.
Whereas with that Supercar race, I don't know who's going to win it
It's
next
close.
weekend. Like, it could be anywhere from Stecchi, Will Brown, Brock Feeney, Shane Van Gisbergen, Cameron Waters, even Chaz Mostert was really quick last weekend. It's just a lot closer and a lot more interesting to me.
Yeah.
I think the character's a lot better in it too. Like Barry Ryan, I think I saw he got fined for swearing. Let it happen.
Let it happen.
Let it go.
It's part of the sport.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if there is a big issue with it, Coca-Cola will ring them and say, "What the hell was that?" Right? Like if they don't like it, they don't like it. Yeah. Everyone else loved it though.
Or Benny would be on the phone going, "What's going on?"
What's going on? If there was an issue, they're going to sort it out in their own house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for that reason, I think that's it.
In Formula Ones, there's so much difference between first and last place.
There is.
It's like they've tried the new car to bring it closer, but it hasn't worked as well as what they thought.
I don't think it has. Like you look at it, there's so much. Like you know, Red Bull car's going to win this weekend, and you know it's going to be Max Verstappen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can pretty well guarantee Sergio Perez is going to be second, and then a Mercedes or a Ferrari will be third.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
100%.
Oh, well, I'm going
100%.
to get some flack on that.
100%. Hawaiian pizza is the best pizza you get, especially from the Brighton pizza place up the road here. Really great pizza. They do like massive pizzas, but really great. Pineapple does 100% belongs on pizza.
I'm with you there, actually. So, and what hobbies do you have, mate, apart from...
Not too much. I really enjoy fishing.
Yep.
Going camping, going fishing. It just really helps me unwind.
Yep.
Just sort of sitting there. Like I don't really care if I don't catch anything. Sort of sitting out, especially up at the lakes or down sort of Madonna, sort of Port Arthur way, all that sort of stuff. Go camping, go fishing. Just it really allows me to unwind and sort of de-stress from everything. And
you got a lot of fishing in Tassie.
You do, 100%.
Like we've got the best fishing spot in the world.
You do?
Oh, I think we do.
Yep.
Although I've been told New Zealand's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't have a sheep with me, so I can't go over there.
Do you have a favourite professional athlete that you look up to?
I can't really say. Like, you look at, I think I look at Usain Bolt from the country that he came from and the amount of stuff he was able to do. That's pretty inspiring to a lot of people. Yeah. Same with Kathy Freeman from Australia, she was running. Like, it was just pretty inspiring sort of stuff that unites a nation. Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. So I sort of like any sport where you can sort of barrack for an underdog and it sort of unites a nation type of deal.
And the same Bolts, I don't reckon his record will ever be beaten.
Pretty fast player.
You know, that's fast. That's crazy fast. What's your biggest fear, Cove? Now I got you thinking, haven't I?
I'm not too bad with this. I used to be pretty bad when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was used to be really anxious and all that. So I never used to like heights or the dark
I hate heights
or anything like that. But I sort of I went to like a lot of different stuff when I was a kid. So like I was really anxious and all that sort of stuff. I was pretty like messed up as a kid type of deal in that way. Yeah. Went through a couple of different university studies and all that. And ever since then, I've sort of not really had many fears like that. Yeah. Anymore. Like I wasted so much of my younger life when I was a kid sort of going, I'm not doing that because I don't want to, because I'm scared of it or whatever. So I sort of don't really like that anymore. Yeah. I'll jump up on roofs, I'll, go on any ride or anything like that, sort of, I'll pick up spiders and all that sort of stuff, or snakes and all that. Like, it's sort of just one of those things now. I'm like, I've wasted about 10 years of my life worrying about this, so I've sort of just got to let it go now. Yeah. So, not really. Yeah, must be. Must be.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
At the moment, it would be the mo. At the moment, I'd probably like to honestly just change some of the ways I approach some stuff. Like, there's a lot of things that I approach that I sort of go really bull-headed at and can't really take sort of a step back and go, let's think about this for a minute and why has this happened? Yeah. And that's sort of been, that's caused over a couple of years a lot of issues, for me in different places and different times. But I think that's one thing I'm trying to work on at the moment, to sort of, take a step back and look at stuff from other people's perspectives, and instead of, just rushing at something and being angry at someone or something like that, just trying to work out what's going on and why they've done that sort of thing. Cool.
I like the way you think, mate. What would you sing at a karaoke night?
Shania Twain's I Feel Like a Woman. I Feel Like a Woman.
Excellent.
100%.
You jumped on that too.
100%.
Have you got a nickname?
I've been called Codes for most of my life. That's really about it. I haven't really been sort of nicknames. At work, we've all got a lot of nicknames for each other. There's just a lot of sort of dumb stuff, but it's just it's all sort of just pretty well codes, sort of what it's been. Yeah.
If money was no object, what would you do all day?
Work on race cars.
Excellent.
Work on race cars all day long.
Yeah. If you were stranded on a deserted island, who would you like to be stranded with?
Not my girlfriend. Not my girlfriend.
You're in trouble with
Not at all. Probably Bear Grylls. He'd be pretty good bloke to be stranded with. I wouldn't have to do much.
You wouldn't starve.
No, I wouldn't starve. I'm pretty good.
No.
I probably wouldn't want to drink anything he gave me. I'd probably be a bit sceptical, but other than that, yeah, probably him. Or I've got a mate that's pretty survival savvy. Would do a lot of dumb stuff, so he'd probably die before me, and I'd probably be able to eat him fat too. So that'd be pretty good.
What would you do if you won the lottery?
Would pay mum and dad's place off first. Be the first thing I do, pay this place off. Then I'd like to buy myself a house. Sort of get myself sorted there. You know, do the sort of normal thing, give a bit to charity, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And then I'd just like to work on race cars all day. Because I believe there's a lot of really talented drivers that can't get it, that just don't have the funding to be able to race. Yeah. Like, it's really expensive. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's expensive sport. Yeah. Right, you've got to put all your money into it. Everyone around you's got to put all your money into it, and you've got to go get sponsors to help you do it. Yeah. So I'd really like to be able to have, you know, my own race cars and race shop and all that, then have a car sitting there for someone to come drive. Yeah. You know, for someone I've sort of looked at and gone, well, you know, they look like they can drive a car, they just haven't got fun to keep going. Like, yeah. And you would know the amount of junior drivers you see that just don't keep going.
No, they don't.
Like, I like to think of, you know, Joe Dickinson. You know, he was really good on his night, and he doesn't race anymore.
He's stopped now altogether.
Stopped now altogether. Even Jane Trigger, like we had our run-ins in juniors, but he wouldn't races, and he just isn't really racing that much anymore. And you know, stuff. I think there's a lot of people that jump out of juniors. Jesse White as well.
I think the politics has a lot to do with it.
It does, 100%.
Unfortunately, there is so much. Like, I love the sport, and I'll do anything for Speedway. But the worst thing about Speedway is there is a lot of politics in it. Yeah,
100% right. Like there's definitely politics in it. It's not as bad as I believe, and I could be really biased here, as I believe circuit racing probably is in Tassie.
Yeah.
I believe it's probably a bit better than that, but it does have a lot to do with it, right? Like, there's a lot of thing where people just want to better themselves, and it doesn't really matter who gets in the way of that, and that can cause a lot of dramas.
And at the end of the day, they're kids. Let them go out there, let them learn, let them have some fun.
That's exactly right. And like I come back to what I said earlier, to me, once you start winning in juniors, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Right, like, a lot of people try and quickly get their licence earlier or whatever to try and stay in there for a couple more years or another year, and I just don't see the point in it. Like, it's meant to be a learning division. Yeah. Well, you've been there now, you're at the right age, you've learned. Time to sort of let someone else step into that role.
Yeah.
Go into another division.
Who's the one driver you think is going to be really hard to beat this year?
You can't go past Callum, right? Like, he's always hard to beat. Kurt Millwood showed really good pace last year. Like, he won, I think, 2 or 3 feature races last year. Was really good by the end of the night. Yeah. So he on his night, I don't think he's one of those blokes who's really hard to beat. Yeah. Nathan Rainbird showed real good glimpses of pace last year, especially when he won away to Wardle. So he's going to be hard to beat. Callum Mule was hard to beat. Like, there's a lot.
Callum has so much bad luck.
He does, 100% he does. Like, he was leading a heat race there at Karaoke, broke back the gearbox out.
Yeah.
And he just
I actually had the GoPro under the car that night.
Yeah.
And you could see the tail shaft disintegrate.
That's exactly right. Like, he's just got a lot of bad luck.
Yeah.
And he's one of those guys who on his night you won't beat.
And he's a great bloke.
Yeah, a great bloke.
Legend. Great bloke. Are you a clear or messy person?
Messy, very messy,
yep.
Very messy. I preach that I'm a clean person, everything should be clean, but I don't listen to my own preaching.
Do you have a favourite movie?
Can't go past Days of Thunder, or Talladega Nights.
Yeah,
both great movies.
Yep. See, they're bringing a new Day of Thunder.
That's what they tell me. That is what they tell me.
Yep. What is the one thing you will never do again?
I hope to never go back to school again. It's something I hope to never do again. I'd like to say spin out in front of the field. I've done that at Carrick leading a heat race once, and that was probably the worst I've ever felt getting out of a race car. Like, for a lot of reasons, I was leading a race that I should have won, and I spun out. So that's the first thing, like, I've just thrown away a race. But then you've also damaged your car, everyone else's cars, and all that. Like, that was one thing that I sort of never want to do again.
They're too expensive to damage.
Yeah,
you know,
way too expensive to damage.
Way too expensive. What's the most daring thing you've ever done?
Probably abseiling 10 metres, 15 metres.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Really enjoy rock climbing now as well. But I don't think there's anything real more daring than driving these, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the same with sprint car. So you drive anything like that flat out,
Yeah.
you know, on the scale is pretty daring.
Yeah. Favourite colour?
Red,
AFL team?
Collingwood.
Collingwood.
Yeah,
You're
mate,
going all right
I can come out of the closet this year.
Yeah, yes.
I can actually come
I've been
out of
watching a bit of football this year, and Collingwood's doing really well.
I can come out of the closet this year.
They got one of the best midfields out there.
Yeah, I can come out of the closet this year, and
Dacos boys, what stars?
well, this got a 6-year contract, like both.
If he doesn't win the Brownlow this year, there's something wrong.
Yeah, no, I can't go past them. I can't go past. So I come out of the closet this year. We ran, I think we were 14th the year before and all that, so I sort of had to retreat back and pretend I wasn't for a while, but came out of the closet again.
So you're going to be ready for the start of the season?
I've got no idea.
No.
I've got actually no idea. So well, the motor was meant to be probably about a month ago.
Yep.
The
Old dog. See that old doggy? It's
old
a
dog.
gorgeous little thing.
Love him,
Running in and out, aren't you?
Motor was meant to be about a month ago, and it's
Yep.
not yet. Waiting on some aluminium so I can build the decking.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be one of those things that sort of happens all at once again.
Yeah. Yeah, you leave it all at the last minute.
Yeah.
I've never met a Speedway driver or a crew that's actually organised.
We've left it later and later each year. Like last year, we were putting the motor in Wednesday night, and
That's
then we
because
wrapped
you're more
it Friday night.
experienced at it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell myself. I mean, how late can I go? After last year, I don't think I could probably leave it much later.
Yeah. So, we're just about finished. So, is there any people or sponsors you'd like to thank, or, you know?
I've got to thank Mum and Dad at Industrial Appetite. Like, they do a lot for me. They put a lot of time, effort, money into me that pretty well goes sort of not unappreciated, but you take it for granted.
Yeah.
Sign Nation, that's what I work for. Anthony down there, he's always been really good at letting me sort of do whatever I want type of deal.
Yeah.
If I ring him tonight and go, hey mate, I need to take Monday off because I'm working on the race field, like, yeah, sure, no dramas, we can work our way around it.
Yeah.
Joel Minder at Tassil Products, so we got them on board last year, sort of just we'd done some work for them down at work, and I sort of went and talked to them, and they came on board. And they've jumped back on board this year and further expanded what they're doing, so we really appreciated them. SD Packaging, so that's a new one we got this year. Simon's really good over there. Van Diemen's with Dave, he's really great. They've got a food truck that comes around, does all catering. Probably the best burgers in the state. Would put money on it.
To try one. Then.
Would put money on it.
Yeah.
Alan Cleary, he's HC Engineering. He does all of our bar work, and all of our aluminium folding, everything for nothing.
Yeah.
Right, so, and he's also the president of Late Models, and he's always there to help whenever
The Clearys are a lovely family.
They're great people.
Yeah.
You know, Ash, Leon,
Alan,
Alan,
legend.
all great people.
Yeah, they're all great people.
They'll do anything they can to help you, like, you know, and when we had to go away to Warrnambool, they were great help. Yeah. Love the contracting, old Noodles.
Yep.
Noodles loves it. He's he does all of our garden work and all that here, and usually does it for a bit of, you know, just put your nail on the car and all that, just sort of stuff, all stuff that helps out.
Yeah. And every little bit does help, doesn't it?
It does. That's exactly right. It's every little thing that
You
just helps.
it's people have said to me, "Oh, we can't sponsor a car, well, because we can't afford it." Mate, if you can offer a driver $100, that's $100 more than what they had before.
It's not even. I'll agree. Like, it's $100. You know, it's $100 more than they had before. And that starts to buy dry methanol. But like, there's a lot of places that you know, they can't offer you money, but they can offer you product. Like, that's great too. Like, you know, if you can get someone on board that gives you, you know, methanol or cans of consumables like, you know, CRC and stuff like that. Like, we've got to go buy that, right? It's $17
And you
a
gave me
can.
so much of
Yeah,
it.
at $17 a can, right? And you go through a can a week.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, stuff like that. But like, you know, Noodles comes and helps on the race car whenever he can. Anthony, my boss down at Sign Nation, if we ever need a hand, he comes up and helps us and all that. And that's what I appreciate more. I think, you know, money's all well and good, but I can't do it all with money. Like, don't get me wrong, if, you know, if someone walked up to me today and said, I'll give you $100,000, I'm not going to turn that down.
Oh, yeah, no way.
but the time and effort that people put into me, I think, is what means a lot more to me. Like, them helping out and doing all that sort of stuff's really great.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate
It's
it.
been a great eye opener, and I love this spot.
Thank you.
Thanks to the dog. And we'll see you on the track this year.
You will.
Sure. And
100%.
hope everything goes well.
That was Caesar out.
Cheers. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button up top there or down the bottom, whichever place it is on the screen, I can never remember. And we hope to see you next time on Shed Sessions. Thanks very much.